everyone. Welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and another episode of Cash or Trash, where we talk about the hot comics of this past week and make predictions sure to go wrong. And of course, my man, Circumstances with me, hanging out again, trying to multitask, see if he actually pays attention or if he just focuses on his.
I'm doing it. I'm doing my best, brother. I'm here and I'm there.
You're almost at the end. He's been doing a little fantasy football prep actually not prep, doing it before that, which is why we started a little late tonight. But
sorry, guys, won't happen again though.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. We got our man GT Key was in here tailgating early. Mojo is in the house. Deep House is here. What is going on, sir? So yeah, funny thing is, and we'll go off topic just for a second, is that I was in a league for 12 years, and I haven't been in a fantasy football league for 20 years. Wow. Early 90s to mid 2000s, I was in a fantasy football league. When it was before it was a big deal, and then about the time it became a big deal, my league broke apart. I haven't played ever since.
So you were doing it when you were doing it by hand and pencil.
Oh yeah, we were doing it by hand and it was. So
it just stopped being nerdy enough for you when it became. Is that what it is?
I had two leagues. One started when I was in high school with some people that I was working with, and that one kind of died when I went away to grad school because I had carried it through when I was at the university because I was still in the same town and those people. And then I had a league that my college buddies were in, and we did that, and that carried on for a while after I got out of even through grad school and stuff. But it just eventually died because guys just stopped paying attention to it. It just kind of and that was about the time everybody else got into it, and so. It's all right, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about comic books, and we got 17 books to talk about this week. I'll be interested to see what my man Marcus thinks about this. Hey, Ben Compton, what is going on?
Benny, baby.
If you're new here, which I don't get a lot of new people, but occasionally we get a new person. What we're doing is we're looking at, every week I put out a video that is 6 months later, looking back at the hot comics from 6 months ago to see how they've done in the market. This is the video where we're going to make predictions for that video based on what we've learned over the years. And we're going to try to have a little fun doing it. Hey, aggressively, what is going on, sir? Chicago, Schultze, what is happening? And so, yeah, how do we do that? We throw them into categories. Let's see, where are my categories at? We got our straight cash, homie, books that we think are going to continue to increase in value. Don't get a ton of these. We don't predict this very often because a lot of times we're talking 6 months versus longer term. And a lot of times these books are going to pull back in 6 months, even if they're really good books. We got our worth it books that are priced about right. Might not make anything, but you're not going to really lose anything if you buy in at this price. We got our I'll be backs. These are books that are flip side of that worth it. Hey, it's not, they're not way overpriced, but if you're patient, you're going to be able to find some better deals. We got our It's a Trap. These are books that just aren't simply worth what we're paying for them. Whatever the news or whatever's going on that's got the book in forefront of everybody's mind, that making people pay big money for it isn't going to last. And then, of course, we got our Dumpster Fires, and these are books that are going to be dropped 60, 70, 80% in value because they're just nowhere near the long-term value of what they're going for right now. So those are our categories. Let's see who else has hopped in here. Andrew, what's going on, sir? Couldn't interrupt Monday night.
Chicago snuck in as well. What's up, Chicago?
So, you just have to watch this on the replay, I guess. I can't help it. This is when we do it. So, let's maybe the Chiefs are on Monday night, then we might just take that week off.
Yeah, I don't know if I can be there on that night, brother. This is serious business.
I've done it before, but it's I'm distracted usually.
Talk about distracted.
In the corner with the game on. So I don't do a very good job on this night. Hey, Frog Brawler, what is happening? So,
what up, my man?
Let's dig into this list, see what Marcus thinks, see what I think, and see if we can learn anything. Now, this first book, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to leave it up very long because I'll probably get demonetized for having a cover like this up. And I've literally had that happen before on this stream. And so we're going to put it up there for a second. We got Terrifier, #1, hitting the list because the third Terrifier movie is coming out. So, or a trailer dropped for the third movie. So it went from basically, I guess this is a pretty hard to find book, pretty tough cover. Not a lot of them slabbed, but it was like a $200 book at the beginning of August, and then the most recent raw sale was $600. 9.8s were only going for $750 to $950, and yeah, the third Terrifier movie, and now we want to pay $1,000 for this book. I mean, I wanted to call this my Come On Man of the Week, but it did have longer term value when I dug into it. So I'm going with it's just a trap. It's gonna be, but what do you think of this one?
When you're paying that much money for a book, I feel like it's like at that point it's what you want to do, right? If you're spending thousands of dollars, how much it costs seems to maybe not matter as much when you're in that upper echelon of spending money. So if you want this book and you're willing to spend that much money, man, more power to you. Go get it.
I just think like anything, like clearly if you're spending that much money for this book, and I'm going to click it off just because it's like to the blank screen here for a second. It's probably already been on there too long, but like if you're paying that much for a book, obviously you love that book, you love that movie series or whatever, you have an attachment to it. But I would just say, even if you have an attachment to it, then you're going to want it outside of when the movie's getting ready to come out, which means you buy it outside of when the movie's coming out, so you don't have to pay the premium.
Always true.
Yeah, so realize there's not a ton of them out there, but yeah, you can do better than right now. So that's just my usual recommendation for something like that.
For sure.
All right, next. I got crap in the way. I can't see my screen. We got Sonic the Hedgehog, number 98. The first appearance of Shadow. So the trailer dropped for Sonic 3. That is why this book is hitting the list. Interestingly enough, this is a pretty hard to find book. Like I was looking, there's not many of these on the census. There wasn't many of these for sale. It hit in the list based on 3 sales, which is literally all that really happened after the trailer dropped on eBay. A raw copy went for $300, a raw copy went for $325, and a 9.4 went for $475, and that was it. Those were the sales. And it's not like there's a ton of these listed. This apparently is not a high print book and a tough book to find. So for a character that some people love, I kind of tried to look back to see where this compared to values, and it's up a little bit, but not a ton, even with the trailer. To me, this screams I'll be back just because it's rare enough that it's probably not going to, the floor is not too much lower than this. But what do you think of Shadow here? Keanu Reeves is playing Shadow, which I only know this because my nephew loves Sonic. So,
it's a hard and fast rule when the trailer's out. It's not the time to buy the book. So definitely now is not the time to buy. But there's only 40, according to the app, as we call it, or key collector, as some of you may know it. There's only 4,300 copies of this book, which, given the audience for a character like this, that's not very many at all.
No.
So the demand and supply is lined up for this to be a book that, can maintain some value, but obviously now is not the time.
Yeah. And I think that's exactly where it's at. I was surprised to know that this book was that limited. And and it seems to be, and because it's kind of a kid's book, there's 4,300, but probably not. There's a significant number of those that went to kids that didn't take care of them. So it's kind of a tough book. So it carries a lot of value no matter what. And so that's just what's going on there. We got a bunch of people that hopped in. I got clicked off the chat for a minute. Mojo is in the house. What's going on? Kingdom of Nerds. Brian LCS is in here. What's going on, sir?
CBC Awards voting is open now. Get over there, get your votes in, guys.
It is open. My man Carlito is here. Cheers, sir. I hope you're having a good evening. Never like Sega when it came out. It was just Mario holding down with B rings. So, which is, my nephew would not agree with you, Schultze. He thinks Mario sucks and he loves Sonic. So there you go. But he's dead. So he enjoys the Sonic games more. There you go. But all right, next. We have Devilina, number 1. So this is an Atlas Comics product. Apparently Paramount bought the rights to all the Atlas stuff a couple years ago now. And supposedly this is going to get a live action movie. If you don't know what this character is, don't be surprised. Not many do, but it's basically Atlas Comics version of Vampirella or Satana kind of thing is what this is about. $80 for raw copy, 9.8, $350. What's your thoughts here, man?
I think if you discovered this book now because it's on a list and you're like, oh, I want this book, then obviously you need to chill out and maybe this isn't it. Yeah. But like if this has been on your list and this is a book that you've been looking for, it might be a book that you can find in a bin somewhere.
I would think that's probably the case.
It's a magazine-sized book, so maybe not everyone is necessarily looking for this one. So I would not want to pay big bucks for this one. But if you like to hunt, this is definitely one to add to your hunt list. Go through those magazine bins.
I mean, I think I put this down as for me as a trap because I think that's like I tried to look back at some sales, and this is not like. I mean, this is a book that has a little bit of value, but you're talking like a $30, $40 book, maybe if in a high condition. Like I said, I think you can find like cheap copies in bins. Like there's no reason to pay $80 or $350 for a 9.8, although there's not very many 9.8s out there because it's an Atlas book and it's not great paper. It's not great condition. But yeah, as aggressively said, we're deep at the moment in some stuff. So.
But this one got bought by some company that might want to do something with these knockoff IPs that they have. So
yeah, that's basically what's going on here. Yeah. We're going to keep moving. We're going to move to Howard the Duck #1. First in-story appearance of Gwenpool. Obviously, her first appearance was just a cover thing. So this is her first in-story appearance. This is still has to do with the Fortnite stuff that last week we talked about Gwenpool #1. I think that says it all. I don't know that I need to say anything else. We talked about this last week. These Fortnite stuff. This has happened several times since I've been doing this. They'll put a skin out in Fortnite. A bunch of Fortnite people will buy copies, and then the book goes right back to what it was prior to people being suddenly interested because of Fortnite. At 15 to 20, I mean, it's not a crazy overbuy. It's been a $5 to $15 book, kind of. 9.8 at 140 is probably quite a bit too high. I think the 9.8s on this have been mostly under 100. I know there was a couple times there was some spec on this book. It jumped up and then went right back down. Yeah, just come back later. I don't like if you like Gwenpool, just come back later.
I say if you like Gwenpool, what's $20, man?
But I mean, what's $20? I guess, yeah.
Go get it. Have fun.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I always have a hard time with some of these that are like, oh, they've jumped up and they're 15 to 20. It's like, I mean, it's not the end of the world if you buy it.
Yeah.
But you just don't really actually need to spend 15 or 20. You can probably get it for $5 later. But
yeah, that's my thing. Is like whenever it's like it jumps up and it's like, oh, it's a $10 book now. It's like, if you screwed, who cares, you know? Yeah. But it's when it jumps to a $100 book and it's like, all right, hold on now. This is
hold the phone, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we're gonna move into covers. So the next several books are all cover related. Ben's like, it's a trap.
It's a trap. It's a cheap trap, though, huh?
It's a cheap trap. It's a little one. It's a mouse trap. It's not a bear trap, but it's covers. We got another Sonic book. 2 Sonic books this week. We got Sonic the Hedgehog #72. The Nathali Ferdron. I don't know how to pronounce the name. 1 in 10. 1 in 10 going for 15 to 20 means it's going to be a $5 to $10 book in 6 months. I'm not even sure. These maybe are newer characters. I don't know enough about it. I don't recognize any of these 3, but yeah, it's a 1 in 10 that's not even really making 20 consistently. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, I don't have much to add on. I didn't really catch up on what was going on with this one.
I mean, there's been a bunch of Sonic books over the last couple of years that have hit, like covers and stuff that have hit this list. Almost none of them have held. I mean, I'm guessing there's something going on here with maybe these are 3 newer characters because because I've been inundated with Sonic stuff over the last couple of years because of my nephew, and I don't recognize any of these characters. But yeah, it's still a trap. There's no reason to buy it at $15 to $20. All right, next. Grommets, number 4, the 1 in 10 Chuck BB cover, going for $20 to $25. I'm gonna have to sneeze. So, what do you think about this one, Marcus?
I actually love this book. I'm excited that there's been buzz around this book because it wasn't expected for me. I love the Brett Parson art, Blitz Cadet on Instagram. I really love his art, and the coloring on this is just absolutely bomb to me. So I'm a huge fan of this book right now. Plus the nostalgia that it's giving you for you 70s and 80s skaters. If you like that kind of stuff, it's hitting the spot right there. But in terms of chasing these incentive variants, I don't know that you should do that. You should probably wait for sure.
Yeah. So, Laura Brooklyn, you should have seen me like a few months ago. I need to shave again, but I'm not nearly as bad as I once was. But I'm
in my prime.
But on grommets, I mean, Remender is like, if you read any of like, Remender has done several of these kind of nostalgia, like not really nostalgia, but like 80s culture, California, like Deadly Class, if you've ever read that, is a lot of hints at 80s punk culture and that kind of stuff. And this seems to fit right in with that. There's been a lot of people that have raved about the story to this point. We're 4 issues into a 7-issue mini.
I love it.
So I think there's a lot of heat around that. Saying that doesn't necessarily mean the covers are great, like long-term investments at $20, $25 for 1 in 10 right out the gate. My guess is even if Grommets holds like one of these series, unless there's like continued interest because there's going to be a TV show or something, once you get through the 7 issues, the prices on these start coming down because people start forgetting about it and losing interest.
Yeah.
So,
who remembers 7 Secrets from Tom Taylor? I do.
Yeah. Are those worth anything?
No.
No, they're not. And that's just the nature of these limited indie series that are like 5 to 10 issues. They just don't last. I mean, the ones that you really think about that last is like Something is Killing the Children, where they're still going. It's 30 some odd issues in. 40. Walking Dead that went on forever, and Invincible that went on forever. Like it's rare for Stray Dogs. What are those books worth now? Nothing.
Those fell off the face of the earth, didn't they?
Yeah, and those books were big money for a while. And this isn't even doing that, but it's still just not a great investment if you're going to go after these kind of things.
Yeah, so, great book though. Go get it. For the.
I'm looking forward. I'm a big Remender fan. I've heard enough that I'm probably going to try to get the trade when this is done and collected, so I can read it. So
cover price only, guys. Though.
Yeah. Next, we got one of our 2 book on both lists this week. We got I Lie Popeye. I don't know what the I Lie is, but I Lie Popeye, the video game variant. It was an open order variant. It's of course the Mike Tyson's Punch Out homage. Started out as it was like quickly like a $10 to $20 book, and then very quickly after this week, it jumped up to now it's 30. All the sales are $30 to $40 over the last couple of days. Open order variant, $30 to $40. I realize it's Popeye, so it probably wasn't a ton of them ordered, but this just absolutely screams trip. I mean, it just screams it. At least to me. What do you think? Am I wrong? Is this your best buy of the week? Is this the get in right now? What do you got here, man?
No, certainly it is a trap, but again, what's $30 if you want it?
For me, $30 is quite a bit.
What a great cover for it's punching that nostalgia bone.
It is a fun.
For all of us that played Punch Out back in the day, I get why it's hot. Certainly a $10 book 6 months from now, though, if at best.
Yes,
but it's fun. Go get it. Have fun.
It's propaganda.
At it again, once again.
You got to watch them. Big Spinach as a corporation. They're pushing their agenda. So, all right, your favorite book of the week. Oh wait, Aliens versus Avengers #1. The Marx Brooks 1-100 going for 120 to 165. What do you think of this one?
We talked about it before, but now is not the time to buy alien stuff. The hype is real for Romulus, and many people like me are going back and watching the original and discovering that it holds up tremendously well.
Yeah,
it's really both Alien and Aliens, both great movies. So it's an all-time franchise that I think will just continue to be relevant for long time from now. But now it's hot, and come on, dude, Venom going after us, there's no legs to this, guys. Come on.
At 120 to 165, it's not typically like not enough for 1-100 to really like hold any kind of value. In terms of just, although 1-100s are a little different than like 1-50s and 1-25s. But the other thing is, the only one of these kind of crossover variants that have ever really done much is there was a Predator Wolverine one that held on okay a couple months back when we did the 6-month look back, like held on okay. Like it was more of an I'll be back than like a trap or worse. But every other one of these that's hit the list has always turned into like a trap or something. Like these weird one-off crossovers. They just, for the most part, people are like, oh, that's cool. And then nobody thinks about it. Like after it's out of the consciousness, nobody goes back for these. Like really. So that's just the way it goes.
They're on your beard tonight.
They are on my beard tonight. And it's not like nearly what it was like a few months ago, like before I trimmed it. And then I just haven't done anything to it for a couple of weeks. I just need to clean it up. I actually literally charged my trimmers. They're upstairs being plugged into charge because I was going to trim it before I went to work tomorrow. So I just didn't get it done today. So, hey, Lasso, what is going on? John, what is happening? Good to see you, my friend. All right, next. X-Men #11, Jim Lee classic Wolverine cover. And I guess that's just why it's on the list. Tom didn't really have like a reason. Deadpool, therefore everything.
Deadpool, Wolverine.
Yeah, I mean, $20 for raw copy, 9.8 for 76. That's basically what this book goes for. But I would just, you can usually get a raw copy for like 15-ish, more than closer to 10 to 15 than 20. But 20 is not out of the realm for this one and for a really nice copy. But yeah, 9.8 for under $100. Go for it, whatever. It's kind of from a book from 1992. Like, I don't think you're going to make anything, but you're not really going to lose anything going after this one.
Yeah, you're not. If you want it because you want it, that's, $20 and for a 9.8 set, that's a price that's not bad at all. Understand there's plenty of these books out there. So you're not buying a rare book. Yeah,
the start of that X-Men run, when Jim Lee was on the book, they are not hard to find. There are a lot of them. So, it's a dollar bin. You'll find this sucker in dollar bins. It might have some kicks.
It's not a dollar bin. Oh, you don't find this in. I don't find this in. I would snatch this.
Not like I would buy every copy. You're not going to find like a near mint copy.
Yeah, but I would never leave this in a bin for a buck. I would always buy it.
Piano Tree.
Classic book, classic Jim Lee, man. Look at that style on the X-Men. That's Jim Lee to 1,000.
And all his little cross hatching and
yeah, dude, love it. I'm in on it.
I
What's like 20? What's $20? Huh?
What's $20? There you go. All right, next. Hellverine is back on the list again because they announced that it's going to an ongoing. It started as a miniseries, and now it's going to an ongoing. They're going to keep trying to milk this gravy train as long as people are buying it. Wolverine 36, first Hellverine. I didn't realize it was actually Dakin until Tom's thing today.
I just realized this today as well. I didn't.
Yeah, so I did not realize it was Dakin, which I think gives it a little better chance of sticking around longer than I originally said. So maybe it's closer to Cosmic Ghost Rider than Weapon H, but I still think, like, I've been wrong on this book consistently because I thought it was a trap. I was like, oh, it's a cool crossover, but it won't amount to anything. The fact that they made it Dakin, the fact that it's still in there, although it's down from where it used to be, even right now, at $50 for a raw copy and 9.8 at $127 for the most recent sale. Like, it was up over a $200 9.8 at one point, but they keep more 9.8s keep coming through the system, so that 9.8 value is coming down, even though the raw copy has stayed a little closer to where it's at. I would still put this as an I'll be back. I think it ultimately doesn't hold, but we'll see. We'll see how long the ongoing goes. I've been wrong consistently on this book, so that's all I can say.
Scott. What up, Scott? It's definitely JP slumming with me. No question.
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I think it's a mutual. At best for me, it's a mutual slumming. We're about the same level, so yeah, we're good.
Yeah, this is for me. Who cares about this book? If they can't make Ghost Rider work, how are they going to make Wolverine with fire work? But if you're into it. Go for it, man. I mean, but I think you can definitely get this book in a dollar bin 6 months from now.
In a dollar bin?
Okay, maybe not that far. Okay.
This book, no. I think you can do better than you can do right now, but I don't think you're going to find it. I think a dollar bin might be a little expensive.
Okay, I exaggerate, but you're definitely going to find it cheaper in 6 months.
No, I keep saying that. I haven't been completely right on that yet, but we'll see. Incredible Hulk #1, the first appearance of Charlie Tildwell. Apparently, there's rumors this character was introduced first issue of Philip Kennedy Johnson's Hulk run that's still going. They're getting ready to get Legacy 800. This was Legacy 782. It's still the same writer. And supposedly there's rumors something's going to happen in 800 with this character. Either they're going to become a new Hulk-like character or something. So that's what everybody's betting on here. So that's why it's not suddenly a $10 to $15 book. There's a lot of Hulk-like characters. How many of them do people really care about? Do we really need another Hulk again? Like, if you can never have too many spider people. No, you can have too many spider. I think we've proven you can have too many.
Apparently not.
Because most of them that have been introduced recently don't hold any value, and that's
Spider Boy. What do you mean? He's
what?
Killing it. Spider Boy, he's killing it right now.
Of all the spider characters that have been introduced in the last 2 years, that would be the one that has any value at all. And there's been a bunch of versions of Spider-Man introduced in the last couple of years. But yeah. Let's see.
But it's I would say definitely buy this book for the read at cover price because it's a fun volume. I really like the Nick Klein art. I know a lot of people fell off on this one, but I'm still enjoying it. I like PKJ a lot. So buy it for the read, buy it for that, but don't buy it for the spec. Definitely
not. Deadpoolverine. We'll probably get that. I'm surprised we haven't got a Poolverine at some point. We're supposed to be getting a new Deadpool, so there you go.
Just a matter of time, I'm sure.
No, it's like right now. Hey, a real book. Fantastic Four #52, first appearance of Black Panther. This hit the list just because it's gotten so cheap that there was actually been an uptick in sales as people have realized how much this book has come down. That was really Tom's only justification for putting it on the list. Raw copies currently, I looked over the last 2 months, basically $100 to $500 depending on your condition. The best condition one only went for $500, so it wasn't a super high grade. 4.0, $325 to $500 for a Silver Age key. That's not bad for a 4.0 range for this book, because this book in a 4.0 was $1,000 book when he was in the movies and coming out. 9.4, most recent 9.4 was like $15K, which is down. This is pretty much like a lot of these big keys, obviously down from the boom of 21, but just down in general. There hasn't been a lot of interest since Chadwick Boseman passed away. Like the heat on this book has really drifted away. Now is probably as good a time to buy this book as there's been in the last 5 or 6 years. It's just kind of where this book is kind of drifted down to, and that's why people are. There's basically it's hitting the list because there's starting to be a little bit of market corrections. People realize how cheap this book has gotten. Is basically what's going on here. Any thoughts on this one?
Not much to add to that. This is one of those books, like it's a legitimate key. There's a lot of keys that aren't legitimate keys. Erica Slaughter first appearance. It's a legitimate key to me, but is it an all-time legitimate key? That remains to be seen, right? But this right here is an all-time legitimate key. So if you can find it for a price you're willing to pay for, man, go get it, especially now.
I think so. If this is a book that's been on your list, even with us talking about it being on the hot list or whatever at the moment, I think now is a good time to see where you're at and what prices are going for, because there's opportunities here. So if it's not your character, then it's not your character. There's no reason to put that kind of money down, because you're still going to pay a significant chunk to get this book. It's just more affordable than it's been over the last decade or so, really.
Yeah.
So, next. Oh, no, I skipped a book. Sorry. We got second week in a row. The Sydney Sweeney rumors have Black Cat up a little bit from last week. Not a lot from where it was last week. Pretty similar. Last week when we talked about it, it was like $7,200 for raw copies. We've had a couple of raw sales over that $200 mark, pushing up toward $2 to $250-ish kind of range on the raw side this week. 9.8, which was sitting around 2,000 last week when we talked about it. The most recent 9.8 went for $2,650, which is up closer to where the book has mostly been over the last year. So yeah, rumors here. People dreaming about Sydney Sweeney in that black costume. Got people jumping on this book at the moment. So Marcus needs a fan. Go ahead, get him a drink, get some water.
The Lord is good.
I love this book. Obviously, there's one right there behind me. I'm a big fan of the character. We'll see. I know that the rights are all screwed up with Sony and everything else, so I have a hard time believing he was just in a terrible Sony Spider movie. I have a hard time believing this is going to happen unless Marvel actually had the rights as opposed to Sony. So, but that's just me.
Buy this book, but never buy this book when there's Sony movie rumors.
Yeah. That's kind of my thoughts. This is a book that if you want it, you want it. But I wouldn't. This is a key, and this is a true, Bronze Age key. But don't buy these kind of books when there's movie rumors. Generally, is my, is it because it's come down? It had come down some. It's probably still in the worth it range. But yeah, I would be looking for a deal as opposed to just going out and chasing it.
Yeah, definitely no reason to chase. No rush on this one, guys.
Yeah. Next, we got Fantastic Four 211. And this one made no sense why it's hitting the list. So, obviously, we're getting a Fantastic Four movie. This is the first appearance of Terax the Tamer, another Herald of Galactus. And I guess this is just spec that we're going to get even more. We're supposedly getting Heralds of Galactus, and there's rumors of a Surfer show, and people are like, oh, they'll put another one of his Heralds. You got any thoughts on this? Just random Herald spec?
I think, obviously not this book because it's on a list, but I think Fantastic Four speculation is among the hottest speculation right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We don't really know what's going to happen. So there's a lot of very cheap books out there, very gettable books that could be that hot book that you can sell when it hits the list at some point down the road. I'm thinking like Kid Loki. Remember when he appeared in the Loki series and that book shot to $50 to $100? And now
look troll in our chat. Rumors are on.
Yeah, listen to Tacoma, guys. So I mean, there's a lot of lottery tickets worth putting some flyers on. Fantastic Four books out there, but not the one that's on the list. So go find the other ones, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we got Shia LaBeouf and Frankie Ray, and like rumors of the actual surfer himself, and like I just don't see them going. Like I don't see there being a bunch of heralds here. This particular spec doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me.
And you know, we said it before, and we kind of got in trouble how villains don't necessarily pop like that. Now, obviously, when you're generalizing, as I said in the comments, when you're generalizing, there's always exceptions to the rule. So there have been villains that have popped, but far more have not popped. And
but generally, well, and I think the I know what you're talking. The comment that you're talking about is, and maybe I wasn't clear enough, is like villain books will pop before and during the movie, but they don't hold very well.
Yeah.
And 2 books from now, we're going to talk about one that I can't believe how cheap it is, knowing what it once was. And because once a villain had come and gone, nobody cared anymore.
They sure don't.
And so we're going to get to it. We got one book before we get there. We got West Coast Avengers #1. Somebody was talking about this one earlier. And basically rumors of Vision that we're finally going to get Vision Quest. And that a bunch of these characters obviously have been introduced to the MCU at this point. And we know we're still supposed to get Wonder Man at some point. So, yeah, West Coast Avengers hitting the list at a grand total of $15 for raw copies, a 9.8 hitting 180. Like, this is a book that's never had a ton of value. I mean, it's never had a ton of value. It's not crazy higher right now than it is. It's just a book what it is. I would still put this in I'll Be Back and get away from rumors. I think at 180 you're paying a premium for a 9.8 on this book. I think you can usually get it for like 1 to 125, somewhere in there, 75 to 125 kind of thing. But apparently I have offended my co-host. So tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong about West Coast Avengers.
West Coast Avengers, the best Coast Avengers, pay whatever price they ask. If they say whatever they ask, say you can have it and get this book by any means necessary. This is the greatest book that's ever happened to human beings. Go get it. This is my best bet.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like it.
Hey, thousands of dollars coming your way.
No personal bias coming into this choice here at all.
Never. You know me.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad book. I think it's a book that's going to be what it's always been, and so that's
Hey, I just want to say that Hawkeye never deserved Mockingbird, and we'll leave it at that.
Hawkeye never deserved any of them, but
Great Lakes Adventures, baby.
He deserved Mockingbird more than Scott's deserved any of the women he's been with. So I'll just say that. So, all right. I said we were going to get here, and this is the prime example of villain books crashing after they've made an appearance in the MCU. Avengers 55, first appearance of Ultron, hitting the list because Spader is going to be in the Vision show. And obviously James Spader was the voice of Ultron in the movie, and he's going to be in the Vision show. Ultron's coming back. First full appearance of Ultron. And you can get 1968 classic villain first appearance, 9/4s for $400. A 9/4 of a 1968 book for $400. You can get 8 O's for around $100. Like this book, this is my best bet. Like at these, I just can't believe how far this book has fallen since that movie.
8-0, 100 for an 8-0 sounds pretty cool.
Like just over $100 for 8 O's. Like raw copies were 30 to 200, but most of the sales were under 100. There was like a couple of really high grade things that were like pushing toward 200, but like for 1968 classic Marvel villain, I couldn't believe. I knew this book had fallen off the map. I had not realized this book had dropped as far as it had.
Ludo. Those are fighting words, Ludo.
Yeah,
Team Mockingbird all the way.
Oh, I love it. He shoots arrows really good. Oh. Rad Art and Comics says you're wrong. Great Lake Avengers are better than the West Coast Avengers.
I respect it. Now, I think Lord of Brooklyn makes a good point. If Ultron were on the cover,
it would be a lot more expensive. You are correct. Yeah. No, he's not wrong there. But I was stunned. I hadn't realized this book had dropped this much. Like that it had gotten this cheap for, a Silver Age villain first appearance to be like of this level to be this cheap. I was just super surprised by this particular one.
8.0 of the book this old. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That'd be a great deal. Buy it, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like not ignoring the spec. I feel like you can get a high grade, like 8.0 plus copy of this thing for $100 to $150. That just seems super cheap to me.
Yeah.
So, all right, last book. We got Avengers 57, second full appearance of Ultron, but the first appearance of Vision. Obviously, the Vision show putting this on the list. I'll be honest, this book has dropped more than I realized it had. Obviously, it was stupid, along with that West Coast Avengers 42 or whatever, the first White Vision during the WandaVision show. Like this book
45.
Was stupid. But, what was it?
45.
45, sorry. But, raw copies, $100 to $600 right now. Again, given the grades that have been up for auction recently, like most high grade stuff on this book have already been slabbed. But 8.0, $500 to $600. That's not crazy for Vision's first appearance. That's actually fairly reasonable. 9.6, 6,300. So yeah, I was surprised. Like you could get like an 8.0 of this for like $500 to $600. That was cheaper than I expected to see currently. So. What are your thoughts on Vision?
It's hard for me to have opinions on blue chip books like this because I don't spend this much money on books. But this is if you're wanting this book and you got the money and you're willing to spend it, go get it, man.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I feel like these last couple books, at least 4 books on this list of toward the end here, the 2 Avengers books, the Ultron, the Vision, the Black Panther, the Black Cat, like. Long term, all 4 of those books are worth paying what they're going for right now. A couple of them I think are really worth it, are probably currently a little undervalued.
Black Panther.
But yeah, a book like that, that's just a matter of finding the deal at the time that you need it. And as long as you don't get in a pinch where you have to sell at some point, ultimately you're going to make out okay. So yeah. Which is rare to have 4 of those books on the list. We had a lot of weird stuff at the beginning, but we had 4 Silver Age, 3 Silver Age and 1 Bronze Age classic first appearance that are all like solid books toward the end of this list.
And West Coast Avengers #1.
That obviously is clearly the best of the lot.
Best list I've ever seen, guys. Go get that book right now. Wonder Man is coming. Scarlet Witch is not dead. Let's go West Coast Avengers.
All right, man. We're at the end here. We're just under our 45-minute goal target. I know there's at least you pitched one thing a little bit earlier. Give the spiel for voting on the comic book awards real quick. Give that to everybody.
Comic Book Community Awards are open right now. cbcawards.org. Get over there, vote for your favorite content creators, and be ready for the big show here. I think it's in December. We always have a good time. Nobody's taking it seriously. It's a stupid popularity contest. It's just for fun. So get over there and have fun. And, of course, got to do it one more time. Comics Curing Cancer coming up real quick here, beginning of October. Check out Comics Curing Cancer on Instagram. Make sure you're plugged in and be ready to spend some money, some tax-deductible money on comic books and slabs.
Yeah, and on the front of the Comics Curing Cancer, I saw Rob post today, I think, on Instagram talking about the deadline for making donations is coming up rapidly so that they can get everything organized. So if you're still interested in helping them out for that event by donating, even before you go and buy stuff in October, if you want to pitch in and donate some stuff, reach out to him ASAP so they can get that stuff on the list and get those giveaways ready to go, or the sales and giveaways and stuff ready to go. It's a fantastic event. They've done it now. This is 4th or 5th year that they've
I think
done
it's the 4th or 5th year, yeah. And I
Um,
said they were at 50. They were at $16,000 so far this year. So
16,000 so far
and
this
that-
year, but last year they got over 50. I think they were about there when they started that weekend last year. So
51,000 last year. Big hopes of doing it bigger this year, but that does not happen if you don't tell your friends about this event and make sure they're there to spend their money.
So Comics Curing Cancer on Instagram, or let's see, Rob's Fat Stack of Comics and
Legion of Comics
and
DJ Links.
DJ Links, all of those folks, you reach out to them and they can get you the information you need to be a participant. And it's coming up that first weekend of October. So yeah, help them out.
Can't wait. Going to be fun.
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, we've done our spiel. We're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight. Always appreciate it. And yeah, we will catch you guys later. Where's my outro? There it is. See you.
Go Chiefs.